All right, guys, so we're starting off our data unit today, and we're going to start by talking about frequency and relative frequency. Now, when you look at our notes right here, yes, I know yours is divided into two where it talks about class sample, your sample. We're going to start on the class sample side. We're going to do this part all together, okay? Now, you'll notice when we've got our table built over there, that my table right now is broken up into three different columns. I have the color, the frequency, and the relative frequency. So let's start by talking about what does frequency mean. Frequency is the number of times something occurs. So how frequent do we see something happen? What is the frequency of something occurring? So I've got a baggie full of some fruit rings here. Okay, and we're going to see how many times, how frequently does a red Fruit Loop appear? An orange, a yellow, a green, a blue, a purple. So I need to take and I need to separate all of these fruit rings into color. So I'm going to start by putting all my reds up at the top. I'm going to put it in order of my table. Y'all know I'm a color-coded freak. So there's all my reds, all my oranges, all my yellows, my greens, my blues, and purples. Let's make sure they're all on camera here. There we go. Okay, so in order to find the frequency, I just need to count how many times do I see a red fruit ring. So if I look up here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red fruit rings. So the frequency of a red appearing would be 5. It appears 5 times. So I'm going to do the same thing with my orange. I see when I look up here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 orange fruit rings. So the frequency of orange appearing is 4. Do the same thing with yellow. I have 1, 2, 3 yellows. So the frequency of a yellow appearing would be 3. I know that's kind of hard to see. Next one would be green. The frequency of my green fruit rings appearing is 1, 2. On to blue would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So the frequency of blue is 6. And then last but not least are purples. So the frequency of my purples would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's the frequencies. Again, frequency means the number of time that something occurs or something appears. Now, when we talk about frequency and relative frequency, the most important thing that we can do is we can find the total. What are the total number of events that we're looking at? So let's start by finding our total. I have 5 plus 4, which gives me 9, plus 3 more, which gives me 12, plus 2 more, which gives me 14, plus 6 more, which gives me 20, plus 5 more for a total of 25 occurrences. 25 events happened, okay? And out of those 25 events, the frequency of red was 5, orange 4, yellow 3, blah, 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 blah. You get the point. So now let's talk about the relative frequency, and you're going to notice that there's something underneath that relative frequency. Hopefully we all recognize that as a percent symbol. So the relative frequency is the percent that something occurs. So remember, we know that percent means, oh no, sorry, I'm going to crush my fruit rings. So percent means out of 100. But when I look down here, I didn't have 100 events happen. I only had 25 events happen. So I need to figure out, I need to somehow take that number 25 and turn it into 100. So what could I do to the number 25 to turn it into the number 100? That's right, I can multiply it times 4. So if I'm going to multiply the total times 4, that means I need to multiply all of these numbers by 4 in order to find the relative frequency or the percentage that they occur. So my first step would be 5 times 4 to find the relative frequency of my reds, and 5 times 4 gives me 20 Then I'm going to move on to my oranges. Same thing, I'm going to multiply it times 4. So 4 times 4 would give me 16 for a relative frequency of 16%. I'm going to do the same thing with my yellow. 3 times 4, which would give me 12% for a relative frequency of 12%. The next one with our greens, again sticking with that times 4. So 2 times 4 would give me a relative frequency of 8% for my greens. Same thing to the blue, times 4. So 6 times 4, which would give me a relative frequency of 24 for my blues. And last but not least, my purples. 5 times 4 for a relative frequency of 20% for my purples. And just to make sure, if I did this right, then all of these percents should add up to be 100%. So let's double check. I have 20 plus 16, which gives me 36, plus 12 more, which gives me 48, plus 8 more, which gives me 56, plus 24 more, which gives me 80, plus 20 for a grand total of 100. So it looks like we did that all right. Okay, so now my in-person crew, Ms. Baumgart is going to pass out some fruit rings for you guys. So I'm going to pause really quick. Okay, so hopefully my online crew, or excuse me, my in-person crew, you guys all have your own bag of fruit rings. What I need you to do right now is I need you to take your fruit rings out of the bag and I need you to count 20 fruit rings for me. It doesn't matter what colors, I just need you to pick 20 fruit rings out of the bag. Now, my online crew, for you guys, I am going to put a sample underneath the hover cam for you guys to use. So what you're going to do now is you're going to look at your sample side. My in-person crew, hopefully you guys have 20 fruit rings out. My online crew, let me get these set up for you guys. So there's your reds, there's your oranges, your yellows, oops, yellows go down here, your green, oh, one green, it's so alone, and your purples. Okay, so my online crew, here is the data that you will use. My in-person crew, you should have your own 20 fruit rings out on the side, organized into color. Now your job is going to be, I want you guys now to tell me what is the frequency of each color in your sample, and what is the relative frequency in your sample. Again, don't forget, in fact, everyone, let's do this down at the bottom. Let's make sure that we have the total written down so we don't forget to find the total. Okay, I'm going to pause the video again. We'll be back, and let's take about 5 minutes max, maybe shorter, 5 minutes max. Okay, welcome back, guys. So hopefully you have filled in your personal fruit ring serial frequency and relative frequency. We are going to save the bottom part of this for tomorrow. So instead, I need everyone, my in-person crew, to flip to the second page. My online crew, scroll down to that second one. We're going to do some practice problems together. Okay, so let's start up here at the first one. It says the animal shelter has categorized the dog population by breed mix. The information is recorded in the tally chart. It's a tally. In which table do the percentages represent the relative frequency of the breed mixes? So I look and I see that we've got our tally chart over here. So we've got our Chihuahua mixes, our Terrier mixes, our Lab mixes, and our Poodle mixes. So the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out how many tally marks are next to each mix. So for Chihuahuas, I see that there are 7 total Chihuahua mixes. There are 5 Terrier mixes. There are 9 Lab mixes and only 4 Poodle mixes. So remember, the first thing I always need to do is I need to figure out what's the total, what's the sample size that we're dealing with here. So if I add these together, 7 plus 5 gives me 12, plus 9 gives me 21, plus 4 more gives me a total of 25. But when I look at all of my answer choices, they have percents after them, which means we're finding the relative frequency. And remember, we know that percent means out of 100. So I need to figure out, what do I do to 25 to get to 100? Hopefully we remember from the front, which was times 4, which means I need to take all of these numbers and multiply them times 4. So my first step would be 7 times 4, which gives me 28%. Then 5 times 4, which gives me 20%. 9 times 4, which gives me 36%. And 4 times 4, which gives me 16%. So I'm looking for which table matches this information right here. So on answer choice A, I see that it says for Chihuahua mix that there's only 7%. Now, I did write down 7, but that was when my total was out of 25, and percent does not mean out of 25. So I got to look over here at my 100 column, and it looks like that my Chihuahuas were 28%, but there they only have 7%. So that can't be right. It can't be A. Then let's go down here and look at B. For B, it says that my Chihuahua mix is 16%. That doesn't match 28, so it can't be B. Answer choice C, I see Chihuahua mix for both says 28%. Good so far. But the Terrier mix on answer choice C says 16%, but we found
Late buses will be leaving in less than 5 minutes.
Which means, Miss Smith, you need to go home. I'm almost done. So 16% in our answer choice, but we have 20% on our table. Those don't match, which means it can't be C. So just to double check answer choice D, 28% and 28% for the Chihuahuas, 20% and 20% for the Terriers, 36% and 36% for the Labs, and 16% and 16% for the Poodles. So those are all good. So our answer choice here is D, as in donut. Okay, let's look at our next one. Our second problem says the store was passing out coupons for $5 off, $10 off, $15 off, $20 off, and $25 off. The table shows the relative frequency of the coupon amounts. But I want to know which frequency table represents the percentages shown in the relative frequency table. So this time they did this backwards. They gave us the percents to start, and we have to figure out which answer choice matches all of these percentages over here. So this time I'm going to work each of my answer table or my answer choices out. So let's start by finding the total of all of these. So let's start with answer choice A. I have 5 plus 3, which gives me 8. Plus 2 more, which gives me 10, plus 2 more for a total of 12. Okay, and I'm going to move down to answer choice B and find the total. I'll come back to answer choice A, but let's come find the total of answer choice B. So answer choice B, I have 20 plus 10, which gives me 30, plus 6, which gives me 36, plus 2 for 38, 2 more for a total of 40. I'm going to come do the same thing for answer choice C. Let's find the total of answer choice C. So answer choice C, I have 30 plus 16, which gives me 46, plus 8 more, which gives me, what did I just say, 46, plus 8 for 54, plus 3 more for 57, 3 more for a total of 60. And then answer choice D. Let's find the total of this one. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Oh, interesting that they're all the same numbers, but 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 would give me 25. Now, answer choice D is interesting because all of the frequencies are the same. And if all of the frequencies are the same, that would mean that all of the percentages are the same. But all of these percentages are not the same number, so all of their frequencies can't be the same number. So I know right off the bat, D can't be my answer. And if I needed to prove it even further, I know to go from 25 to 100, that would be times 4. So 5 times 4 would give me 20%, and that does not match what I have right off the bat. So I know for sure it cannot be D. Now, when I look at the totals for A, B, and C, I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't see good scale factors to get me from 12 and 40 and 60 to 100. So we got to use a little bit of mental percents here. And let's use our relative frequency table to help us. So I know that the $5 off is worth 50% of the total amount of coupons. So let's use this. We know that 50% represents 1/2 of the total. So for example, when I look at answer choice A, the total is 12. So 50% of 12, or 1/2 of 12, would need to be 6. But in our table, they wrote 5. So that doesn't match. So A can't be my answer here. I'm going to go down to answer choice B. So this time my total is 40. Again, I'm looking for 50% or 1/2 of the total. So 1/2 of 40 would be 20. Well, that matches, so we're good there. Let's go check and make sure C doesn't work, or maybe it does work. So again, my total here is 60. 50% would be 1/2 of the total, so 1/2 of 60 would be 30. Okay, looks like we've got B and C are looking good so far. So let's go down to $10 off, which is worth 25% or 1/4 of the total. So if I have a total of 40 and I divide it into 4 equal pieces, 40 divided by 4 would give me 10. So that one looks good so far. Let's go up to answer choice C. Again, I'm finding 25% of the total. So 60 broken up into 4 equal pieces would give me 15 in each piece. They've got 16 written in each piece. So that one can't be right, which means it can't be C. It has to be B. But I'm going to keep, y'all know me, I'm going to keep proving why B is correct. So our next one for 15, actually no I'm not. I'll let you guys figure that part out. Okay, so here's what all you guys are going to do. We've got B as our answer. What you guys are going to do is there are 4 more problems for you to complete. 1 and 2 on the 3rd page. Oh no, there are 6 problems for you to complete. I was wrong. 3, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6 on the back. I'm a math teacher who can't count. So I'm going to let you guys, you are more than welcome to work with a partner if you would like to. You are, of course, are more than welcome to use your notes, but I'm going to warn you guys, don't forget to find the total of every single frequency table. We will come back and we will check this at the very end of class, so I'll see you guys then.